Welcome back everybody to the third annual Mario Month. Today we're going to be talking about Super Mario Maker. Listen, I'm still fine with doing this in May instead of March. Leave me alone. Super Mario Maker is one of my favorite things that Nintendo's ever done. Not just because, hey, we finally have a level editor for Mario of all franchises, that's really cool. No, it's because back in 2015, people were pretty sick of New Super Mario Bros. This is kind of a response to that. I just imagine Miyamoto was sitting in his office like, oh what, you don't like our games all of a sudden? Well, make one your own damn self! Super Mario Maker is probably the strongest game that validates the Wii U's entire existence. Yeah, you got games like Splatoon, Tropical Freeze, The Wonderful 101, all great games on that console. But the mere concept of drawing out levels on the gamepad? Well, suddenly the Wii U's gimmick just makes a whole lot more sense. But with the impending Super Mario Maker 2 for the Switch coming very soon, I think it's finally time we call it. It's been a good run, but this is the final nail in the coffin. With this experience no longer being tied down to the Wii U, there's just no reason to turn that console on regularly anymore. None. I'm sorry to all you Devil's Third fans out there. So how about it? One last hurrah for the original Super Mario Maker. Let's take a look at the legacy that it's leaving behind. Oh my god, what is that? Now this game probably has one of the easiest selling points to ever grace gaming, period. Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. U. All pretty good games, right? Absolute classics. Well, now there's an editor that lets you make your very own levels based on those 4 games. Now you can't make levels as complex as those source games, things are kept pretty simplistic here. The lack of slopes, for example. Even after updating the game a whole bunch, slopes just never managed to make it into Super Mario Maker, despite there being slopes in the Smash Brothers stage. That was pretty mean. Yeah, you can tell why they started the sequel's debut trailer with these things. They knew. They knew! I'm sure this level of simplicity was to reduce the barrier to entry for people who just wanted to goof around and throw blocks all over the place. You see, I know a thing or two about ROM hacks. I've seen the best that the community has to offer. And the worst. And it's important to know that going into this official editor, nothing is going to come close to what's possible with emulators. However, while a bunch of elements from those source games didn't make it into here, there are still a ton of new things built specifically for this level editor to emphasize that this is all in good fun. I mean, this is all that we get in terms of any sort of story. Yeah, we don't gotta take this seriously. You want Hammer Bros in Super Mario World, a game where they never appeared in? Cool. How about an airship theme for Mario 1? Sweet addition. How about this? Truly, Mario Maker separates the masochists from the rest of society. Why? What this all means is that despite any sort of limitations, some top creators have come out of the woodwork over the years and exercised some incredible levels of creativity. One of my favorite things that spawned from this game is an entire remake of Undertale from start to finish. There's even a genocide option if you want. Look at the dry bones with blue eyes. It's Sans. There are a few different ways to experience the levels that have been uploaded by the players, all courtesy of Course World. On one side of things, there is the 100 Mario Challenge. You choose a difficulty, you get given 100 lives, then get tossed into stages pulled randomly from the server that fit whatever difficulty quota they deem sensible. And for the most part, it actually works. You know, the easy stages are super short and sometimes barren of any obstacles, but as you go up the difficulty ladder, they become more challenging, and in my opinion, a whole lot more fun. You do still see some crap every now and then, but hey, just skip the level and pull another one instead. Easy peasy. However, for whatever sick reason, after months of this game being released, Nintendo thought that releasing a super expert difficulty was a good idea. Ha, it wasn't. Now maybe this is the impatient old man in me, but normal difficulty was already the perfect chance to see some quality stuff. Expert was a bit more of a crapshoot, but it was still possible to have some fun. I could not tell you a single time I saw something good from Super Expert. It's just filled with nothing but insane death traps that are impossible to see coming your first time through. Sure, when trying to troll your friends for a laugh, it's all fine and good, but suddenly these stages get uploaded for the world to see 5 minutes in, and I want to snap my gamepad in half, and come on man, those things are expensive. But I understand all a player has to do is complete their level themselves to be able to upload it to the server. But that just means that they can throw a million traps at you that the creator can just bypass in testing, and then boom, I wanna cry. Maybe some of you guys out there really love this stuff, it's certainly not for me. Luckily, that is why the rest of Course World exists. Aside from the 100 Mario Challenge, we have multiple ways to filter out some of the best stages and overall creators and play some of the top tier content. Now this is what I'm talking about, man. This is why I love Mario Maker. I am so glad these top creators exist. I am by no means a creative type with level editors. I made a few stages way back when the game first released, but it's really not for me. Like here's one, I remade one of the tree levels from Super Mario Land 2. I thought that was kinda cool. That's the best I got. Maybe I'm just crazy here, but despite there being so much uncertainty with the level of quality you're about to dive into with each stage, I would still much rather devote time to this than New Super Mario Bros. That game was plagued with been there, done that, but here, who knows? At least I found my way to have my money's worth with playing the game this way instead of dealing with the level editor, because it's just not my thing. I mean, with enough tinkering around, you can play Mario Paint's Gnat Attack. I take it all back, this is what validates the Wii U's gamepad. But just do a little bit of digging to find the top ranking stuff and you're gonna find a bunch of gold. There's this one stealth level where you blend in with your surroundings to the Mission Impossible theme song playing in the back, that's incredible. You got automatic levels that are purely spectacle, expecting very little to no interaction from the player. There are stages that are simply meant to show off the music creation tool, and that is also incredible. And hats off to the speedrun community, they have done incredible things too. Just take one glimpse at a Games Done Quick segment and it shows that these people treat the game way differently than everybody else. And it is awesome to watch. Oh, and the costumes, oh man, the costumes are so cool. This game features well over 100 different Nintendo and not Nintendo characters and items as playable costumes, unlocked by either completing the 100 Mario Challenge on any difficulty, thank goodness, or by utilizing the equivalent character's amiibo. Finally, you can play a Mario game as Sonic. And as expected, Sonic looks super weird. Whenever a new costume dropped, Nintendo usually released a special event stage to go along with it, putting you through a challenge that sort of makes sense for the character that you're playing as. And this simple concept is one of the best parts about the game as a whole. You see, when you play in the Mario 3, World, or U style, the controls and abilities that you can pull off match that source game, meaning that inherently Mario 1 is incredibly limited. So to make up for that, all of these playable characters are exclusive to Mario 1, giving us some stages that may be weird with Mario at the helm, but hey, now we have a Zelda dungeon and we can play as Link. That's awesome. The only thing that this game is missing is Hello Kitty. And just because who cares at this point, you can add sound effects to levels too. It's a pretty cool idea, but the more levels that you play, the more you see that people, when they have access to the rave tool, I think people go a little bit overboard with it. You know, I get it, the rave music is funny, it's out of place, but 20 levels in, I'm just sitting there in the flashing bright lights just waiting for it to end. Honestly, this is more or less what I expected. When you give a level creation toolbox to a world of creators, this is really nothing out of the ordinary. The cream eventually rises to the top, of course, but let's be honest here. Most of the stuff uploaded to the server in the past few years has been pretty bad. Like I said, a majority of these are great pranks to play on buddies. There is no doubt about that whatsoever, but when you try to play the mode that is sort of like the main single player mode, yeah, no. Well, that's sort of where the 3DS port comes in. Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS. Wow, Nintendo stealing the same subtitle as Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. What a ripoff. Now, this is a weird game. It's such a shameless Wii U port, this version doesn't even fit the entire screen during gameplay, matching the normal 16:9 screen resolution as expected from the console version. That's very odd. There is so much missing from this package too. All of those different costumes that I was just raving about, gone. Despite the 3DS having amiibo support, for some reason here, just not a thing. That eliminates the ability to play any of the levels that use them. But you know what? Who cares? You can't upload stages to the servers anyway, and you can't even search for them to download either. There are 2 different modes where Nintendo will throw stages at you, but there is no way to find specific ones like you can on the Wii U. And you can only send and receive stages that have been created by players via Street Pass, which is very lame. Nintendo really thought that this was a good idea? Ha, it wasn't. However, there is one very notable addition that makes this version stand out. There is a full-on single-player mode here with 100 levels that were created by Nintendo themselves, presented to you in a somewhat traditional world-by-world format. And alongside you for the adventure, you are guided by Mary O and her bird companion, Yamamura. It's pretty funny, actually. Mary O, that name takes a shot at all the people who incorrectly pronounce Mario's name as, well, Mario. But also, it kind of validates my Mario month naming scheme. Thank you, Nintendo. Hopefully people stop telling me it's a dumb name by now. Now this single player mode, it's actually pretty cool and makes this version kinda worth it. At a discount. It's a large amount of quality, bite-sized levels with challenges attached to them. It's pretty refreshing for 2D Mario, honestly, especially if the new series has you burnt out like it has for other people. Otherwise, this version simply exists in an attempt for Nintendo to recoup their costs after losing money on the Wii U, and that's about it. It'll be interesting to see in the future if anything else of note comes from the original Super Mario Maker. I mean, the game at launch compared to the game now are like 2 totally different products, and that was awesome. The amount of fantastic levels that spawned from this game, it was awesome to experience, and all of the additions that are being added to the sequel, man, the creative player base is gonna eat that all up, and as a player, I'm super excited. Super Mario Maker is a monumental title in Nintendo's history, leaving behind a great legacy based purely on the players rather than the developers themselves. And all of this as a part of the franchise featuring the most famous video game character out there? Yeah, I would say that's kind of a big deal. But you know, if we could really tone it down with the rave music in the future, that'd be nice.